Back with you on a Saturday evening for the finale of the Carnegie Mellon Quad for NCAA women's basketball. Wrong sport. Volleyball.
Same court.
The same exact facility, but we are not in basketball season yet. We are in full volleyball swing as the Carnegie Mellon Tartans host the Westminster College Titans in the final game of the Carnegie Mellon Quad. CMU coming into this matchup 7-3 overall, as they had some tough sledding last night in the first game of the quad against Mount Union, but came back this morning and took care of Nazareth. You were on that call, Rob.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive, all three sets. The second set, Nazareth had a little bit of life, but it was all Carnegie Mellon in the first and third, and it was a dominant effort. Nazareth really struggled in this quad, did not pick up a win, and I believe losing in straight sets in every match that they had. But Mount Union was probably the best one here, as they won last night, as you mentioned, against Carnegie Mellon. But Westminster picked up a couple wins. They did lose to Mount Union, though, so this is a pretty good program. I'm excited to see this match. But if Carnegie Mellon handles business, this should go how we think it should.
Westminster took on Nazareth at 5 o'clock yesterday evening and won 3-0. And then they took on Mount Union at 1 o'clock this afternoon and fell to the Purple Raiders 3-0. So it's been nothing but sweeps, one good, one bad for the Titans, who reached this game with a 7-2 overall record. They were picked to finish 7th in the PAC coaches poll at the beginning of this year. There's a lot of returning players for Westminster that were juniors last year, now seniors, have a little bit more experience after it was not exactly a great year for Westminster last year. 5-24 overall, 3-7 in conference play. That was coming off of one of their best years 2 seasons ago, where they really were rolling and took care of business. Actually swept Carnegie Mellon 2 years ago. Last year, the Tartans did the same thing to them. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, in 2021, they finished with a record of 28-5, made it to the, I believe, the NCAA tournament, lost to Otterbein. But what happened in that season was not the case in 2022. They really struggled. 5-24, as you mentioned, were blanked by Carnegie Mellon. And Carnegie Mellon coming into this one, they have a very similar team. Westminster has a very similar team. We'll see if they can rebound and put up a better fight against the Tartans. We're expecting that with their overall record being 7-2 and doing fairly well here in this quad at Carnegie Mellon.
So your starting lineup for Carnegie Mellon: number 5, Elizabeth Schlemmer, the outside hitter, sophomore. Number 7, Mindy Lai, is a setter and defensive specialist. She's a senior. Zoe Gavros is number 9. She's a first-year defensive specialist. Kai Herkenrother, the sophomore middle blocker. Number 15, Laura Raychard, the senior outside hitter. 18, Jane Dean, the senior middle blocker. And number 20, Abby Chen, the junior defensive specialist, who is serving as the libero in this matchup. For Westminster, Natalie Frankie is a senior out of Centerville, PA. Number 7, Malia Duffy, a senior out of North Allegheny High School, defensive specialist and libero. Rachel Brady is an outside hitter. She wears number 9. Number 12, Ava Feringer, also a setter. Meanwhile, Lauren Lampus wears number 18. Number 23, Jamie Robertson, and number 27, Saley Grinnan. Rounding out your starting lineup for the Titans, who are in the road blue uniforms with white numbers and silver trim. Carnegie Mellon rocking the home red uniforms with white numbers and black trim.
And for Westminster, started off the season 6-0. Only losses came to Penn State Barron and Mount Union earlier on today. But so far, a really great start to their 2023 campaign, and much needed after, as you mentioned and we talked about, a very difficult season last year. And it looks like the referees are just checking to make sure that everything is good to go before we get underway.
As the North Allegheny product, Malia Duffy, checks in. As in volleyball, there's a substitution before play begins. Libero out onto the floor. And Westminster should serve. So it looks like it'll be Angie Nardone, a sophomore out of Elwood City, Pennsylvania. And Abby Chen wearing the white libero jersey tonight. She was in red last night against Mount Union. Angie Cardone serving for Westminster. Big drive, and this one too far as Raychard's hit doesn't catch the back line. 1-0 Westminster.
Well, that's the thing. In that game in that match against Nazareth, they didn't miss at all and really limited the serving errors all around. A pretty perfect match.
Nardone to the back line. Schlemmer far side. Her drive handled well. Titans look to respond. This too far. We're tied at 1.
Well, both points for each side coming via way of mishits, just hitting it too far, looking for that back line.
Laura Raychard, the senior out of Puerto Rico, set to serve in this 1-1 matchup. Backline handles, it's Rachel Brady. Off-speed hit, handled well by the Tartans. Schlemmer, far side, can't catch the line. Westminster point.
Nobody has gotten a point so far with the ball in play.
Mindy Lai leaves for Kai Herkenrother. Westminster's response taken by CMU, and this will hit off the hands. The backline player for Westminster. Count the point for Catherine Jackson.
Well, it looked like that one was probably going to go too far as well, but a heavy shot by Raychard.
Chen serving, and she'll get the ace to make it 3-2. Carnegie Mellon's first lead of the set 1. Chen will line up to do it again. Back line takes. Big drive that's blocked. Jane Dean working with Catherine Jackson.
Well, if you're a CMU fan, I don't know, a little bit of homework on Westminster. Keep an eye on number 9, Rachel Brady, leading the team in kills with 72.
She just scored the point there. Off-speed tip, putting it in no man's land. Westminster back within 1.
Also, number 18, Lauren Lampus, second on the team in kills, and second on the team in digs as well. Aaliyah Duffy, as you mentioned, out of North Allegheny, close here to the city of Pittsburgh. Really great libero.
This tip up and across. Jane Dean will get the point as it falls over on the Westminster side.
In that 2021 campaign, I saw them in the PAC tournament. Went on a great run. Really a fantastic program. Last year has an asterisk next to it. Something you don't see from this Titans team.
Big drive coming from Westminster's Ava Feringer out of Venus, Pennsylvania. One-point game as Rihanna Daniels, the senior setter, will serve. Chen digs. Mindy Lai leaving for Catherine Jackson, and it hits the floor. Give Jackson the kill. She'll sub out as Zoe Gavros checks back into the contest.
Nearly dug out there by Malia Duffy. Was close to getting that one.
Gavros, the freshman out of California, will serve. Backline handles Brady. This slap down, Jane Dean, and it eats the Titans up. 7-4 Tartans. Gavros to the back line. Off of the netting and no return. Tartan point.
Yeah, Rihanna Daniels couldn't get to the net quick enough.
Gavros. Service error. Can't make it over the net. Rachel Brady asking for a new volleyball. Waits for the whistle. Dug out Raychard. Lai leaves for Jane Dean. Had it blocked back to her. Point to Westminster on the net violation. Titans back within 2. Lai to Dean. Daniels there to dig it out. Gavros to Lai. Raychard, double team block, catches the line. Westminster point.
Yeah, that just barely caught the line. Gavros diving out, looking to get something on it, couldn't. Barely snuck in.
Brady serve. Raychard eats her up. Tied at 8. We'll line up and do it again. Chen to Lai. Jane Dean off speed. Dug out Duffy. Big drive coming from the near side. Brady. Handled well by the Tartans. Raychard plants the point. 9-8 CMU.
And she's able to make up for not being able to handle the serve by Westminster on the previous point for the Titans. Comes right back. Gives her team the lead once again.
Nea Tamala into serve. Checking in for the first time here in set 1. The 9-8 advantage. Dig from Lauren Lampus. Gavros leaving it high for Schlemmer, too far. And we saw a lot of that last night against Mount Union. Schlemmer she packs a punch. She knows how to get some velocity on the volleyball. The issue is sometimes it's too hard to the point where it's going out of bounds on the other side.
She was looking for that back left corner. Missed it by a couple feet.
Tied up at 9 here in set 1. Dig Raychard. Lai leaves it for Schlemmer. This time deflected, but Westminster's able to return. Lampus carry across and a mishit off the hands of Kai Herkenrother.
Yeah, Lai tried to set that up to Herkenrother, just a little bit difficult to handle for Herkenrother. Couldn't quite get up there.
Westminster with a 10-9 advantage. Raychard. Lai, Herkenrother, big drive, dug out well, good dump across as well, coming from Saley Grinnan. Pushed over, Claire Tobin. Now Raychard with a full head of steam, count it. We're tied at 10. Mindy Lai serving. Backline takes it, almost dropped for an ace. Lai setting up Schlemmer, far side, laser. Tartans back in front.
Well, that time she didn't miss.
Doesn't get much better than that. This ball handled, Daniels and company, blocked back. Kai Herkenrother using the size to the advantage there, putting the arm up and saying, hey, it's not coming back this way. 12-10 CMU. Pinwheel hit. Lai leaves for Herkenrother. Daniels, Duffy. And this almost falling, but it's Abby Chen causing some problems for Westminster.
Yeah,
although this out of bounds, so
just missed.
Titans do get the point.
Great dig, though, by Chen, keeping it alive.
Angie Nardone up to serve this time for Westminster. 1-point deficit in set 1. Chen leads for Lai. Back to Schlemmer. Laser into the net. No response. Tartans take a 13-11 lead.
Well, the Titans had a chance to get it off the net. Grinnan didn't quite know where that ball was. Couldn't get her head turned around to make a play. And another rocket from Schlemmer. 2-point advantage for the Tartans.
Raychard back to serve. Dug out back line. Quick bump across from Saley Grinnan. Now Jackson pushes it forward. A diving Titan can't keep it alive. It was Tobin. Takes a bad bounce off of Tobin's pancake dig.
Every time I hear pancake dig, it always makes me hungry.
Me too.
I haven't had pancakes in a
I
while.
love pancakes. This one driven down. Point for number 12, Ava Feringer. 14-12, Tartans with a 2-point edge. Chen leaves for Lai. Now Jackson. Thought there may have been a deflection, but no.
No, there was a deflection.
Oh, okay,
Point
yes.
for Carnegie Mellon.
All right, never mind.
Mm-hmm.
So they did say deflection, so I think they gave the point on the scoreboard to
They did incorrectly.
Westminster.
Yeah, they fixed it.
Okay, all right. But now Westminster scores,
Now
so
they're going to put it back to 13.
never mind.
We got it figured out.
All is well that ends well. Malia Duffy. Schlemmer, man, what a drive.
Holy cow.
And they have to go diving into the seating on the bench to try to make the play, unable to do so.
Yeah, I don't think you can pay me enough money to stand in front of Elizabeth Schlemmer's shot.
No thanks. And she's serving now with a 3-point edge. Frontline Westminster, block in front. Jane Dean, Catherine Jackson, lights out.
Using their height. Catherine Jackson at 6 foot, Jane Dean at 6'2", and a timeout taken by Westminster.
So a 17-13 lead here in set one. The first timeout called of this set by the Westminster Titans, who are led by a legend in Tammy Swearingen. It's her 31st year at the helm of Westminster Volleyball with over 650 wins. And she is a 7-time PAC Coach of the Year.
Yeah, and that President's Athletic Conference, which is what the football team competes in. By the way, they got a big win today over Waynesburg. Jared Barton was on the call along with Randy Gore. But the one thing that I will mention is that this conference has a lot of coaches that have been in their positions for quite some time. And they have great records. Obviously, Coach Tammy is one of them in the volleyball record book in that conference.
Back into the action after the timeout. 17-13 CMU. Chen up over the net. And now a setup for Brady. This, we're going to say a deflection off of Carnegie Mellon. That leads to a Titan point. I'm not sure if CMU is happy about the call, but it's the call nonetheless. Although we will get a discussion between Raychard and the R1.
Then the place goes silent.
Well, they want to hear the conversation, as we do as well.
Eavesdropping. We got a crowd mic. I'm sorry, we can turn it up as loud as we can. I don't think we're.
It's a little bit far away.
Yeah.
It's a different story when we're doing basketball here. We're actually close to the benches, and you can and the scorner table.
And they review the calls on the screen since we're able to stream it. So that is something that they're able to do. Yeah.
We may be the only Division III outfit with reviews. But take advantage of it. Jane Dean. Brady lofted over. Joust at the net. Rachel Brady ends up victorious. Another point. 17-15.
I believe they do reviews for Westminster basketball as well, since they have a broadcast team and they have a screen, right next to the court.
Schlemmer, her block. Her shot blocked, I should say, as Westminster pulls within one. Daniels serving. Back line, Chen. Lai will lead for Catherine Jackson. This blocked, but went backwards. Jane Dean blocked back into her face. We're tied at 17.
Yeah, now it's the Titans going on a run. That timeout proved advantageous for Westminster, and CMU calls one of their own.
17 all in set one between CMU and Westminster. Interesting back and forth matchup we've seen so far, Rob. It's started out looking good for Carnegie Mellon, but they've let the Titans slip back into this a couple of times.
Yeah, maybe we're going to see the competitive game that we haven't over the last couple years, with CMU blanking the Titans last year, and then the year before that it was Westminster winning in straight sets. So maybe this one's going to be a little bit more competitive. Maybe we could see another 5-set affair here tonight, or this evening, I should say. Game was originally slated for 6:30, but the other matches were 1 and 3 sets, which is why, or straight sets, which is why we were obviously pushed up.
Yeah, they left about 2.5 hours in between each match in case things would go to 5 sets in any of them. And we've seen a lot of sweeps so far today, which has moved things forward. How about this block? Taken care of from Catherine Jackson as she battles 2 Titans for the point.
Yeah, the sophomore, she really impressed us yesterday against Mount Union when she got into play. That here against the Titans.
Gavro serving. Duffy working with some teammates, no response. 19-17 CMU here in set 1. Gavros continues. Brady digs. Daniels leaves for a teammate. That was Frankie on the other side. This one falls. Combination between Mindy Lai and Jane Dean.
That Mindy Lai right there, opportunistic, saw the space on the near side, was able to find her mark, and she was having some difficulties in that Nazareth match.
Ace for Gavros.
And she was trying to be creative, finding ways of getting the ball over the net, had some issues, but finding her stride here, and we have another timeout taken by Westminster as they trail by 4.
21-1 against their PAC foe, Westminster. Neither team has seen conference play yet. Of course, the UAA synonymous with very, very stout competition, specifically in volleyball. One of the reasons why Carnegie Mellon was able to attain an at-large bid into the tournament last year.
The conference holds a lot of weight.
Abby Chen leaving for Lai. This side, Raychard. Response handled well from Westminster. Schlemmer. A little bit off speed for her liking, but it's played well from Natalie Frankie. Lai setting up Jane Dean. Rifled shot and no response. Tartans up 22-17.
Yeah, the Titans are having a hard time defending these monstrous shots from the likes of Catherine Jackson, Schlemmer, Jane Dean, Herkenrother, Raychard. We have a service error here.
Stalls the momentum, at least temporarily.
It's just so great that CMU has the depth that they have and so many different weapons, so many great outside hitters.
That's impressive. Raychard on the dig. Lai will leave for Raychard. Dug out by Daniel.
More of a defense mechanism, it looked like.
Yes, but look at this dump. Mindy Lai.
Who does that remind you of? Stella Yan.
Yes.
We mentioned it in the last game, but Mindy Lai picking up right where Stella Yan left off, and she would do that time and time again. And I'm sure, Stella, if you're watching, you'd be proud.
Nea Tamala up to serve. Los Angeles, California native. Duffy digs. Daniels leaving far side. Gavros and company able to respond. Herkenrother leaving. Good battle in the front of the net. And this drive successful for Natalie Frankie.
And the senior out of Centerville, PA, makes no mistake. In between 2 Tartans. A lot of force behind that one, and a much needed point.
23-19. As Jamie Robertson, the middle hitter, also California native, to serve. Raychard digs. Lai leaving for Herkenrother. Count the point. Lai, set point. Daniels leaves, pushed over. Schlemmer keeps it going. Lai to Raychard, block back to her. Combo of Natalie Frankie and Olivia Trent. Oh, check that. Number 27, Saley Grinnan. Thought I saw 17. Still set point for the Tartans. 24-20. Raychard charges this one into the Westminster zone. Gavros working Herkenrother. Schlemmer gets it over. This dug out well. Gavros. Raychard off a block. Duffy sets far side. This catches the line. Westminster point.
Just in. I mean, the Tartans aren't too happy about it, but that was in. We have the bird's eye view. We're right next to the camera here, so.
I like the call.
Yeah, we saw it clear as day.
Angie Nardone. Miscommunication on the Tartans' end. And this is a two-point contest once again.
Listen, Carnegie Mellon needs to take a timeout, and they do. Well, the reason why is because this is what happened to them against Mountain Union. They were up in those sets that they lost to Mountain Union, the second, third, and fifth, and they allowed the Purple Raiders to come back. And they just can't let that happen. They got to learn how to finish out these sets in dominant fashion. And it seems like there are a lot of unforced errors, maybe a mental lapse, miscommunication, whatever you want to chalk it up to be, but it needs to be fixed, which is why a timeout is called.
And during this timeout, Panera Bread is the official partner of Carnegie Mellon Athletics and has been named the healthiest fast food restaurant by Health Magazine. Choose Panera Bread for all of your catering needs, tailgating for the game, family gatherings, office meetings. No group is too small or too large. Panera Bread catering for all occasions. Catering.panerabread.com. Schlemmer, does she catch the line? Yes, she does. And set number one is in the books, 25-22. You'll take it, Rob.
I will take it. Schlemmer, no doubt about that one. And the Tartans, following that timeout, able to come away with set one going down as a W.
Take a look at the comparison between the two squads. Carnegie Mellon with 44 attacks to Westminster's 33. Kills 17-8 in favor of CMU. Did have more attack errors, 10-4. Hitting percentage, pretty close, 159-121. Assists in favor of CMU, 16-7.
And it's really where they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot for Carnegie Mellon. Statistically speaking, offensively, they're doing better than Westminster. It's just those errors that's really costing them, and it costed them against Mountain Union. But it's all behind them now as they took the first set. They're looking to carry on that momentum here in set number two.
New Wilmington, one of the great stops in the President's Athletic Conference.
We're just about ready to get underway here in this second set. CMU will serve. It's Mindy Lai to start things off here. And she's successful over the net. A dig into the net by Duffy, and the Tartans strike first.
Yeah, nothing much that Duffy could do there. It was a perfectly executed dig, but the way it lofted into the net, there was no way for Westminster to return it. And this is a mishit on Duffy.
Yeah, tried to push it towards Angie Nardone. Didn't get anything on it. And another point for the Tartans, starting off strong here in the second set. Lai again, Duffy this time. Now here's Lai. Herkenrother goes up high. Played around at the net and pushed out of play. And the Titans are on the board. And forgive me if I say, I haven't said it yet, but it's inevitable. That's the way my brain works. Tartans, Titans, Tartans, Titans. I'm going to get, if I mix that up.
They're pretty close.
You should know what I mean, hopefully. There's Lai. Great yard. Attempt. And the back line by Faringer. Right on the line. Is that good? It is. Westminster ties it up.
Very close one. Along that near side. Falls for Westminster. We're tied again.
Lauren Lampus to serve. Over the net. Played up in the air by Raychard. Schlemmer. Hard shot. Almost fought off by Duffy. She's been struggling a little bit here in this second set. 3-2 lead for the Tartans.
Duffy, who has been an All-PAC second-team player the last 2 seasons. Lampus has been an honorable mention All-PAC player the last 3 seasons.
Pushed over the net by Faringer. Here's Jackson, hard to Duffy this time, able to get underneath it. Fantastic volley between the two squads, but the Tartans are able to end it. That's Herkenrother.
Back up by 2.
She's been great so far in this match.
I would agree.
Here's Brady. Over to Nardone, a finish, and a point by the Titans. They said that was deflected off maybe Mindy Lai or Herkenrother, but either way, Titans down by just 1. Duffy to serve, as you mentioned, out of North Allegheny.
Tremendous volleyball program for both girls and boys there. As they are consistently state champions in both.
They have had, in recent years, a handful of Division I products, right?
Yeah, specifically Mia Tuman, who is, so we get a
miss hit.
Yep, and I'll go for an ace. Mia Tuman, who has started off her collegiate career at Ohio State University. I know you're a big fan.
Buckeyes playing, I think it's Western or Eastern Kentucky today in football. May or may not be keeping an eye on that.
IO.
That's
yeah,
right.
I'm not an Ohio State fan, but I do know the chant.
Schlemmer adds to the point total for the Tartans. They're up by 4. And that might have been pain for you to say. I'm sorry. You're a Syracuse guy, so I don't expect you to like him. Here's Jackson off the hands of a Titan. Back up into the air. Here's Brady, just too far, right? Happened a lot at the beginning. Actually, the first 3 points were scored that way. 8-3 lead for the Tartans, just over the net by Chen. Faringer, another shot that goes wide. And a timeout taken by Westminster. They need to regroup.
Good timeout to take, trailing by 6.
Well, last year in the PAC, I was able and fortunate enough to be on the call for the women's PAC championship. It was Bethany on the road taking on the Teal Tomcats, who were favored. And Bethany was able to come away victorious. And that was a hard-fought win. And a lot of great competition in the President's Athletic Conference for women's volleyball. And that might have been the most packed gym I'd ever seen in my life.
Is that right?
It was, you couldn't even move. I mean, it was almost tough for me to see. Everybody was standing. I had to get a little block that I had to stand on in order to see over everyone. It was a great atmosphere.
And you're no short person, so the fact that you even had to stand on something is saying a lot.
Yeah, it was packed, but a lot of fun. Played around by the Titans here. Going up, slamming it back down with both hands, Jane Dean.
Seen that all weekend. Jane Dean using her size to the advantage.
That one was pretty easy for her. Faringer, soft touch. Lai sets up Jackson. Played around at the net. Pushed over in a heads-up play.
Fantastic move.
Great finish there from Angie Nardone.
catching everybody off guard on the other side of the net.
Caught me off guard. I thought she was going to set it. Nope. Pushed it right over. Got the point. Much needed point. Titans still trail by 6. Jackson once again. Well defended. And a miscommunication by the Tartans. Dean, Lai, and Jackson not on the same page.
It happens. Can never be perfect in terms of communication out on the floor. And that's really in any sport.
There's Dean looking for the near side corner, just too far.
Titans pull it within 4 here in set 2.
Daniels into the net. Daniels, the senior out of Hermitage, PA.
Hickory High School in northwestern Pennsylvania.
There's Daniels with the set now. Brady with the hard shot, well defended by Chen. Jackson, diving dig for Duffy. Here's Brady. And again, Duffy trying to keep it alive, but it's Dean again making some noise.
Important block up front for the Tartans. Looked like Jackson was in on that as well.
There is Jackson to Lai. Back to Jackson, softly over. Daniels. And it's sent into the net
Back-to-back
by Jamie
blocks.
Robertson.
Another big block. Dean and Jackson.
And I'd say she's probably the furthest away from all of her teammates from Lake Balboa, California, which that's pretty common for Carnegie Mellon. As this one skied into the air off the wall.
Not so much for Westminster, as you have a lot of local players.
Yep.
Not saying that they can't get national players, because they do, obviously. But that's a hotbed for Western Pennsylvania high schoolers. It's a great institution.
It is, academically, athletically as well. There's Jackson. Daniels couldn't get to it, 14-6. And I think a lot of the schools in the PAC do very well with the Western Pennsylvania high schools as far as recruiting goes. Grove City, obviously with their expansion in the athletic department. A lot of great teams spending some money on their facilities as well. Washington and Jefferson pulls a ton of kids from the Western Pennsylvania area.
There are schools that I feel as though are crown jewels of the PAC, and I'd say that Westminster is probably on that list.
Oh, for sure.
W&J would be up there as well.
Shashaya, hard shot. Lauren Lampus tried to go for the dig, worked out of bounds. 15-7 lead for CMU.
We'd be remiss if we didn't mention the former deputy commissioner, Kevin Fenstermacher of the PAC, who has now taken a role in the communications department, athletic department at Westminster.
Yep.
Hopefully Kevin's tuning in.
Hi, Kevin.
Thank him for all of his service and time for the conference, so we're very familiar.
There's another finish by the Tartans. Shashaya. And we speak of this because since we are streaming this on the PACstream.net, we work for the PAC Sports Network, also helping out, obviously, with Carnegie Mellon in addition to Bethany College. So we're fortunate enough to broadcast a lot for you here on the PACstream.net, and obviously through the Tartans Athletic website. But we do know a lot about the President's Athletic Conference, and I really love when CMU plays the PAC. It's usually hard fought and very competitive, especially in basketball, as we see a finish here from Jane Dean. It seems like once a year we get CMU versus Chatham University, who's in the city of Pittsburgh in the President's Athletic Conference.
W&J makes plenty of appearances here as well.
Right. And obviously with CMU being in the PAC for football, obviously the programs are very familiar with one another as we get a block.
Shashia this time.
17-9.
And I'd say that this set, a little bit more business as usual for Carnegie Mellon. That first set, they were cutting it pretty close at times.
In is coming Elizabeth Phillips, the freshman out of Fishers, Indiana. Saw some time in that Nazareth match, did quite well.
I was going to say, didn't see her against Mount Union yesterday.
Here's the finish by Shashaya. And they're going to say no, it was out. That looked in. Head coach Ann Block said you missed it by this much. And she held up her fingers and maybe an inch or two. It looked good for me, but I don't get paid the big bucks.
And we're up here in the crow's nest, so we're not going to be making any calls, let me tell you.
Lie stuffed at the net by Grinnan. Here's the serve. Westminster. Service error.
Now an 18-11 edge for the Tartans.
Serving is Mindy Lai.
And Bella Woodard will check in.
And I do want to make a correction. Elizabeth Phillips did not come in. It was one of those fake outs for us broadcasters. Finding the home in the back line is Grinnan. (18-12) lead now for Carnegie Mellon. Serving is Lauren Lampson, or Lampus rather. Here's Lai to Herkenrother. Played around by the Titans. They push it over. Woodard, strong shot, blocking out. Point CMU. Bella Woodard, sophomore out of Houston, Texas.
Saw some significant minutes last year as a first-year player. As did Shashia, who is serving.
Right into the net. There's Laura Raychard back in to the game.
6-point edge for CMU.
Duffy over. Chen to Lai. Here's Woodard again, and this time stuffing her at the net, getting the point. Looked like getting the most of that was Rachel Brady.
Robertson in the vicinity as well.
It's Duffy again. Here's Brady. Stopped at the net. Push. Great dig by Raychard. Soft touch by Jackson. Up to Lai. Here's Jackson again. And Duffy nudges it up. Here's Brady looking to finish. Cannot. Faringer. Her attempt dug out by Chen. Woodard softly over. The volley continues. Faringer. Lai on to Hergenrother. Now it's Brady. A great action here between these two squads.
I think this is the best sequence we've seen this afternoon, and CMU gets it.
Of course they do. Up by 6 now. And that's Catherine Jackson, who has really solidified herself as a consistent player for this Tartans team. And I do want to point out that Elizabeth Phillips is now in, officially, on the books.
There you go. So she was going to make it in one way or another.
I knew it. It was just foreshadowing. Here's Daniels.
Yep.
Raychard and Chen nearly bump into each other. Lightly over by Phillips. Lai to the far side. It's Jackson up into the air off the hands of a couple Titans. Woodard finishes. Just inside that back line, 21-15 now.
Beautifully placed by Woodard. Kill one step closer as we get a timeout call by Westminster.
Needed. Well, Carnegie Mellon throughout times in this Carnegie Mellon quad really showing their dominance. We saw it against Nazareth at times during Mount Union. And Really off to a great start here against Westminster. Still very early on here as we're about a set in a little more than a half into this affair between the two teams. But Carnegie Mellon played some really good teams well earlier on in the season. They beat number 10 Barry, lost to a couple ranked teams, one of which being Judiata. But I remember seeing Judiata last year in the NCAA Division III Women's Volleyball Championship at Duquesne.
That's
right down the road here. And they had size. They were they were disciplined. They were well coached. It was really a sight to see. And a volleyball institution in Judiata that is top tier and consistently that way, as head coach Ann Bach was from there.
Her father, a mainstay as a coach there for many years.
There's Raychard getting the point, 22-15. And you can see how that experience at Judiata has affected her as a coach. Now in her 5th season with CMU. And she's had a lot of success with these Tartans.
Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt about that.
There's Daniels to the near side. That's Frankie just able to get it over. Daniels fights this shot off. Into the net, bouncing around, somehow able to get it over. Mindy Lai, push that would have gone out. Raychard played it. On the far side, it's Jackson, blocked at the net. Another great volley between the two teams. Jackson ends it as soon as I say that, 23-15. How about that effort from Mindy Lai?
That's some impressive stuff as she was diving and just barely saving it.
And what's amazing is she was right up against the net. She was able to get it up and over. Most of the time you see that going right underneath the net. Not for Mindy Lai. There's Schlemmer, soft touch into open space. Diving attempt by Duffy to get over. Here's Lai again with a fantastic play. And Duffy put it up in the air. Everybody looked at each other, and it falls. Point. Carnegie Mellon just 1 point away from winning this second set.
Yeah, they'd love to get out of here with set 2 victory quickly. March on to this 3rd set.
Here's Elizabeth Schlemmer looking to end it. Duffy with the dig.
There it
finishing is none other than Katherine Jackson, who had a fantastic second set. And the Tartans lead 2-0.
25-15 the final here in set number 2.
Well, Jared will be cutting the highlights for this game.
3 matches, not just this game. I have to somehow, some way put all 3 Carnegie Mellon matches from this quad into 2 minutes and about 30 seconds. That's
well, there's a lot to choose from.
Yeah.
A lot of great volleyball to be played.
I would say.
I think you could put in almost all of my calls.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, good. All right. I may be bribing them. Sliding some money on the table here.
No bribes here at all.
It is a great thing that we're able to cut those highlights that those of you who are watching and listening on the website here or on the pacstream.net, you can relive some of the best moments from this quad, and it really was some great moments. And although Carnegie Mellon came up short against Mountain Union, it was a great back-and-forth contest.
It was, all the way down to the end. And yeah, unfortunate for the Tartans that they couldn't pull off the victory, but that happens. You're not going to win every match, that's for sure.
About a minute left here in this break before we resume the 3rd set. If you're going to give a winner of this quad, it's going to certainly be Mountain Union. Did not lose a match.
Yeah, they look pretty solid.
Yeah.
It was good to get to see them yesterday.
Mountain Union in the OAC. Don't get to see them too often. Mountain Union known primarily for their football, always in the Division III championship. Nazareth College up in New York has a couple pretty solid hockey teams, men's and women's. Westminster really known for their football team, although having somewhat of a down year for their standards. It's CMU, it seems like pretty much all of their teams are successful. Women's basketball pretty good. Men's basketball very good. RJ Holmes, the leader in that, on that team.
We'll be to that sports season before you know it.
Football, of course, the defense for the football team is what really is the highlight, nationally ranked. 15th, right, going into this game today. It might change after that, depending on how the other teams fared in the top 25.
See how it plays out. They have a big matchup under the lights next weekend up at Thorne Field, Grove City College in Mercer County. That's coming up, I think, a 7 o'clock kick from Thorne next week, next Saturday. So something to keep in mind. Oh, here we go. It's time to start set number 3. Doing so will be Angie Nardone. Kai Herkenrother placing it where nobody is for the first point for CMU of this third set. They lead 2-0. Abby Chen, the junior, serving now. This blasted to the hands of Rachel Brady. Brady's able to return with some help from her teammates. Dugout, as it looks like Claire Tobin was diving to make that effort, as she is now the libero. Swapping places with Malia Duffy. Drive Brady too far, 2-0 Tartans. Chen, an all-UAA honorable mention player last year, as this is mishandled by Westminster under the net. So Chen will continue to serve. This drive to the hands of Brady. Nardone, and count the point for Shelby Rambo, the middle hitter out of East Palestine, Ohio. Lauren Lampus serving. Bella Woodard, tip over the net. Brady far side, off the net, but dug out by Chen. Lai leaves for Jackson. This hits off of a couple of Westminster players. Count the point. And now Elizabeth Schlemmer, sophomore, lining up for her next serve. Good dump from Westminster. Better handle from Carnegie Mellon. Far side, Brady up over the double block.
Just able to sneak it over the Tartans there on the far side.
And Rambo will serve. Lai leaving. Blasted back. That was the hit initially from Elizabeth Phillips. And this goes out of play. Last touching Westminster.
That was saved by Mindy Lai. She used the shoulder, top of the chest bone, it looked like, to pop that one up, keep it alive. And her team is able to cash in on that great defensive play.
Katherine Jackson serving. The 5-2 edge here in set 3. Lofted pancake dig. Jackson couldn't save it. Substitution is Rihanna Daniels checking back in. She'll serve. And it's into the net. Point Tartans, 7-3. Check that, 6-3. Just getting a little bit ahead of myself there, Rob.
They put it up so quick. It fooled you.
Phillips serving this time, pushed out of bounds after the miss hit from Westminster. Now it's 7-3.
And these mistakes kind of piling on here for Westminster. If they want to keep it close and have a chance, they got to limit those as best as possible.
Schlemmer can't catch the line. Westminster point.
That was Lauren Lampus who let that one go. Tough one to let go, but had the awareness.
So Malia Duffy checks in, not serving as the libero in this set. She's back in the navy blue uniform. Fight at the front of the net. Daniels slaps it down. And this point will fall for CMU. Avani Shishia out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Senior coming up with a point here in set 3 as Woodard checks back into the contest. 8-5 edge. Lai serving. Can't get it over the net.
Just barely misses.
Jamie Robertson. Backline Shishia. Drive coming from Kai Herkenrother. Handled well by the Titans. Lai leaves for Chen. Just a little pop over the net. Double block in front. Woodard and Herkenrother teaming up.
And I think Woodard got the most of that. Getting some love from her teammate Herkenrother. Here's Laura Rachard. Back onto the court.
And Rachard will serve. The 9-6 edge. Almost miss hit. Westminster able to get it over the net. Jackson just leaves it for Westminster to respond, and this will fall over the double block. Brianna Daniels.
That was the right idea. Two going up at the net for Carnegie Mellon.
Nardone.
Nobody there right behind them, so just a soft touch to make it fall.
Nardone now serving 9-7 in favor of CMU. Lai leaves for Woodard. Hurt blast from the front of the net falls. Dig successful for Westminster. Lai shuffled over to Elizabeth Phillips. Return from Westminster. Now Jackson with a drive. Dug out Duffy. Chen to Lai. Back to Catherine Jackson. No return this time. 11-7 Tartans.
Jackson has been fantastic. Hasn't missed. Great velocity on those shots.
This one tipped and kept alive.
And again, it's Jackson right at the net. All areas of her game has been on point.
Abby Chen. Hit dug out by Lampus. Big block once again. This time it's Phillips and Woodard teaming up.
But Phillips, the freshman, making a statement.
Now a 13-6 lead for CMU. Another block in front. Phillips in on that one as well. This one driven and dug out. Rachard. Point to CMU because of the net violation.
Yep.
This driven out of play. CMU will take advantage of another point out of bounds.
Timeout taken, yep, by Westminster. And they announced a missing iPhone that got a reaction out of the crowd. Some laughs. It says Owen on it, so they're trying to track down the person who forgot the phone.
After the timeout, CMU will continue to serve. It's Abby Chen. Too far on the service error. Now a 15-7 advantage for Carnegie Mellon.
CMU just 10 points away from coming away with 2 out of 3 wins at their quad match.
Woodard and company
make it 9 points away.
As Westminster didn't have a response on that one. And Elizabeth Schlemmer will serve. Libero digs it out. That was Tobin. Phillips up over the net. Far side, Brady double block, but out of bounds. Point to Westminster.
They're hanging around.
Cut the lead in half. It's 16-8. Here in set 3. Shelby Rambo serving. Chen digs. This left for Julie Wu. And a point for CMU.
Julie Wu seeing her first action. Also incoming is Isabel Shepard, the senior out of San Francisco, California. And she will serve now. Head coach Ann Bach getting deep in her bench.
At this rate, all about getting some experience for some of those players that may not see action in a regular match.
All crucial parts. It is. This Tards team is extremely deep. You can have almost anyone come in and pick up right where the starters left off. I know we've touched on that a lot, but I think they just needed to figure out exactly who Ann Bach wanted on the court and who she was allowed to have on the court.
Looks like Shishia is back into the game.
Along with Abby Chen.
Catherine Jackson serving. Big drive, Brady. Chen can't find the dig.
It's Anna Kate Davis, freshman setter, I believe coming in for the first time.
Yeah, haven't seen her yet, out of Maryland. Jackson leaves for Wu. Shishia, her hit off of a Westminster Titan and out of bounds. Lead back to double, 18-9.
Juliana McFarland into the game.
Saw her a little bit yesterday against Mount Union. Big drive off of Jackson. Point Westminster.
That one was hard to fight off for Catherine Jackson.
As Phillips checks back into the game. Oh, never
Nope,
mind.
Trickaroo to get Abby Chen
See,
in.
that's... They do me dirty when that happens. I should just wait. This next serve dug out. Shishia blocked right back to her. Westminster trying to rally here in set 3. Duffy serving. Dug out Schlemmer. Wu. Left for Jackson. Handled well. Chen keeps it going. McFarland backwards. Jackson returns. Far side. Jackson dug to keep alive. Wu leaves for Shishia. Too far. Westminster point. Oh no. They're going to say a deflection.
Yeah.
CMU point.
Yep. 19-11. Well, how about that windup from Jackson? I mean, she came from the back line all the way up close to the net and just laid everything she had into that ball.
Impressive stuff.
Well defended by the Titans.
Nea Tumala serving. A 19-11 edge. Dug. And no return from Westminster. Tamala. Right-handed hit. Far side Westminster return. Tamala leaves for Woodard. Dug out by Duffy. Hits the antenna. CMU point.
4 points shy of winning in straight sets.
And if they do so, that'll be a clean sweep of the day for CMU. Where they took out Nazareth in 3 sets. Tamala, service error.
Well, Nazareth early on lost in 3 sets to Mount Union, but there was a second set where they were going back and forth, and it was in the high 20s between the two, until eventually Mount Union came away victorious.
And an ace over on the Westminster side for Jamie Robertson. 21-13. Dug out. Put in no man's land. Give McFarland the kill.
Great vision. 3 points away now.
Shishia to serve. Tamala feeding Jackson. Punched along. Chen. Woodard up and over. Westminster feeling the heat, sends it back. Well, this one skyward. Off speed will find the point for Westminster.
That's Natalie Frankie. That's the second time she's done that. She's like working towards her left, looking like she's going to slam it, and then just goes the other direction with a soft push. Well done. Orlacia Hunter into the game for the first time for Westminster.
CMU can't respond.
Bounce around between Tamala and Jackson.
Nardone serving. Chen dig. Woodard, big drive. Count the point. 2 away for CMU. Abby Chen. Backline handles. Set up, big drive, block in front. Phillips and Woodard putting in great work. Match point.
Shelby Rambo didn't get much on that at all.
Dig coming from Raychard. Phillips sent it back over, returned well Westminster. Tamala sets up Jackson. This out of bounds, and the Tartans take the sweep. 3-0 after a 25-15 third set score.
A great effort from both these teams. CMU, the better team in this one, more consistent. Even the depth when they came in, did a great job. And I think the star of the match as a whole has to be Catherine Jackson. She was fantastic.
She
and
looked
Mindy
good
Lai,
yesterday, too.
She was
in
great.
that game against Mount Union.
Yeah.
Mindy Lai played well.
Defensively,
Yep.
fantastic.
So a lot of good stuff coming from this match against Westminster. Carnegie Mellon wins it in 3, 25-22, 25-15, 25-15. And they advance to 8-3 overall. Take a look at the schedule. Up next, it's a home match on Wednesday evening, 7 o'clock against John Carroll. I'll be on that call solo against the opponent from Cleveland, Ohio. So we'll see how that all plays out. And then they're still home. It is the UAA round robin number 1, so they're technically not at home. It's a neutral site location at Case Western in a matchup against Rochester. So they play Rochester and Chicago on Saturday before ending with Emory on Sunday in the UAA round robin. So that's next week in a nutshell for Carnegie Mellon volleyball. On the other side, the loss now propelling Westminster to 7-3, and they will face Grove City in Mercer County at Grove City on Tuesday evening at a 6:30 start for the Titans. Final thoughts before we wrap this one up, Rob?
Yeah, both teams heading into conference play. I think both teams off to a really great start, Westminster and Carnegie Mellon. Carnegie Mellon was able to rebound from last night's sort of tragic loss after a first and fourth set that were fantastic. Second, third, and fifth got away from them. And I think they really showed their dominance here and were able to come away from this quad match at home with a 2-1 record.
3-0 wins against Nazareth and Westminster to end out the Carnegie Mellon quad. For Rob McKinney, I'm Jared Barton saying thank you for joining us here on the Carnegie Mellon Athletics website, also pacstream.net for select coverage today. And John Carroll coming up on Wednesday. You can catch that broadcast at the same location with yours truly at 7 p.m. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time for Carnegie Mellon Athletics.